beautiful opening morning. This is the type of day we've been waiting for 10 years on November 15th. We have maybe an inch of snow, wet snow. It's on the trees. The visibility is beautiful. The wind is very light, just barely blowing, and it's blowing from the north to the south. We have a clearing here in front of us that's, maybe 150 yards, close to 200 yards across. But we'll be able to see the deer moving. It's just, I just can't. I'm so excited about these conditions. The temperature's about 30 degrees. Tomorrow's going to be a different story, though. We have a front moving through. We may even pick up a lot of snow today. But the conditions are great. It got light quite early with all the snow on the ground and a full moon. But we haven't seen any activity yet. Very few deer in the fields as we were driving here. Hopefully they're going to be out in the next hour or so. So we'll just wait and see.
The past few years I've been hunting with a handgun for deer. I've taken 3 with this .44 Magnum. It's a Magnaport Stalker with a 2-power scope. I'm extremely confident up to 75 or even 100 yards, but for longer ranges, I really prefer to use my rifle. It's a 7mm Remington Magnum. The scope is variable, 2 to 7 power, with scope covers. Keeps the snow off the lens. I set both guns against a tree, put my mittens on, and wait.
The sun just popped through the clouds. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here on opening day. We haven't seen a deer stir. We've heard shots here and there, but we went for about 10 or 15 minutes without hearing any. Now maybe the sunlight warming things up will get the deer stirring. Expect them to be moving in this woods right across the bean field here. Oh boy, this is beautiful. Oh man. You guys got off your posts mighty early. No bucks?
No. There's one deer up at my place.
One, isn't that something?
Did you see they flushed the 2 out?
Yeah, the 2,
Yeah.
but that's all I saw.
Yeah.
Mighty quiet.
Yeah.
The 5 of us expected a busy opening morning, picking and choosing the bucks we wanted. But to only see a couple of tails flagging through the trees after daylight was a complete surprise.
Well, you said that these are better afternoon spots.
Yeah. The evening there'll be a lot of deer. They didn't move that many this morning. There was no tracks on the road crossing. Nothing.
Very few tracks.
Bub Bickle lives on this farm. His blind was east of us. My son Zach was 100 yards west of cameraman John Ford and I, and Jeff Alexander was across the road near Bub. Since the deer weren't moving at all, we decided to drive a small swamp.
Yeah, there's Bub and Jeff down there by the truck, and they're going to drive this little swamp that should be chock full of deer, and we're going to be at the other end of the swamp. Last year when we drove it, they run right across that field there, Zach. So we're going to be positioned right on the other side of the dike. See, with this water here, it forces them to come one side or the other.
My son Zach and I headed to the west edge of the Cedars, where we moved at least 30 deer last year at this same time, and the sight of them was still vivid in my mind. It seemed logical that if they weren't moving in the woods, they'd undoubtedly be in this swamp.
The dike, that farm field right down there, or else they'll cut right through the woods, but if we get down there in the corner, we'll be able to see them. So you have your scope back on.
Set back on about 3.
About 3 power. Yeah, you don't want to have a 2 telephoto for deer when they're moving like this. Whew. Tell you, these are not walking clothes. These are sitting clothes. But Zach is right down there. You can see his blaze orange hat. And they should start driving about any time. So I'll just kind of get back up in here. Keep an eye out. Well, this is a disappointment, a surprise. I don't know what to say. We didn't see one deer come out of this swamp. I mean, last year there were 30 or 40 that ran right through here. I don't know if we just guessed wrong and they popped out the other side. I don't know. How many did you see?
Well, we expected dozens, but saw none. Bub and Jeff said they saw a group of 4 ambling out of the woods before they started walking, but no deer were bedded in the swamp. Could this be the calm before the storm?
It's what we call snow clouds. Pouring in from the north. They'll be dumping a lot of snow this afternoon, maybe. Okay, that doe just spooked. She came out, I think. She may have seen us. Do you see the fawn next to her?
Branches in the way.
Yeah, there's a branch there, but that's a doe and a fawn, apparently. Yeah, they go back into the woods. I don't know if they saw us. Oh, there goes another one. Well, there's a lot of activity down there. They're snorting. I'd say that they smelled Zach. That'd be my guess. The deer are moving now. It's getting towards 1 o'clock and their activity's picking up. So's the wind.
Maybe it was the pending storm, but these deer waited until the afternoon to feed.
Small buck.
It was a buck?
It's a buck.
No.
Very small.
John's 24-power camera lens could see the spikes, but I couldn't.
That's a doe.
It's got tiny little spikes, dude.
Little spikes? I sure don't see them.
Besides the incredible magnification, the video camera gives us something our naked eye doesn't: instant replay. You know the old story about the deer ducking the hunter's arrow? This deer is spooked by a sound, and she drops down to spring away. Watch it again. The sound of an archer's bow causes a deer to crouch and jump like this, giving the appearance of ducking an arrow. But deer duck like this all the time at any little sound.
Boy, they sure weren't out here this morning, but this afternoon, they've been regular. She seems at ease. She's flipping her tail. Got 7 of them out here now. You ought to be able to see, what, 5 of them?
Now that sunset is a little over an hour away, the deer are moving and feeding freely. I can peek under branches and see the other deer moving into the field. John's camera isn't so flexible. Even though Zach, John, and I all have antlerless tags, and the farmers in the area want many of these antlerless deer removed because of crop damage, we, well, like many hunters, hold out for a big buck on opening day. Last year I didn't see the 6 or 8 point in the rain. This year I couldn't see the size of the spikes.
You gonna shoot him?
I don't know.
Can you just scoot over and I can give you a better idea? No, they're not.
You don't think they're 3?
No, I don't.
In Michigan, a legal buck has to have 3-inch antler tines. Is this spiked buck legal? Well, we debated and made a judgment that it wasn't. But looking at it again, I'm not so sure. Zach, John, and I all filled our antlerless tags on the 3rd day. The first 2, we held out for that ever-hopeful big buck. The anticipation of hunting. That's what makes it so exciting.
We're just about out of camera light, aren't we?
Yeah, it's gonna be a little grainy, but you can still see.
We got to get down towards that corner.
I think we better move.
Tomorrow morning we'll slide down that way a little bit.